Hi there, welcome to Floating in Dreams, welcome to Eyeshadow Palette Week. Today we're ranking my GlossGods palettes. Welcome to everybody watching today. Thank you so very much for joining me. This is going to be a ranking of all six of my GlossGods eyeshadow palettes. This is by far one of my discoveries when it comes to indie makeup brands. They're from Sweden, and since I've tried all of these palettes now, I thought we could do a ranking. In case you're new here, you've never been to one of my videos, hi, my name is Maaike. I live in the Netherlands. I have fair skin with a cool to neutral undertone, and this greatly influences how I feel about makeup. I have been reviewing makeup for more than a decade. I love trying out eyeshadow palettes, essence and couture's, and getting the use out of my makeup. So if that's something you're interested in, I hope you'd like to stick around. So yes, I have 6 eyeshadow palettes from GlossGods, and this is an indie brand, as I mentioned. They're from Sweden, so if you're in the EU, they can sometimes be a better bet than buying things from the US, I have to say, which is why I like them, because I live in the EU, that's where I'm from, and Sweden is just a lot cheaper for me to buy from than from the US. Of course, if you are in the US and you want to buy GlossGods, know that they ship from Sweden, which means you're going to have to pay for additional custom fees on top of the shipping fee that you see when you check out. For me personally, it is only around like 10 euros in shipping to get one of these palettes to my house. However, of course, if you live in different territories, this may be different. As far as I know, they don't really have a postal service that they always work with, so also depending on where you live within Europe, this may not be as affordable to get. Each palette retails for around 40 euros. I think they're 42.95, but the prices on the website are in Swedish crowns, so I always need to have a good look. And they do some really lovely things. They are a makeup artist brand, essentially. They very much push artistry on their Instagram. However, color story wise, I feel they also cater to the regular makeup consumer, which is how I view myself. I'm not a makeup artist anyway, by any means, but they do palettes that are aimed more so at doing more creative looks, and then they also do palettes that feature a lot of neutrals and that are great for every day. And I have a 50-50 split between those here. So I have 3 of their neutral palettes, and I have 3 of their shimmering effects palettes, you could say. So we're going to be ranking these. And the first palette in the ranking, so the lowest ranked palette here today, by no means does it mean I don't like this, but number 6, something has to be the lowest, is the Gal on the Moon palette. So this is one I bought more recently. This came back for Black Friday, and I picked it up instantly, because this is one they've done earlier, apparently, and they've reformulated or something like that. I don't know exactly the game. Someone did leave a comment in my comment section saying that they like this one better, a little bit better quality-wise than the old one. And this is one of their effects palettes. And this is really, really pretty. We get some purples, we get some bluey greens, we get some warmer tone greens, and then here are some brighter bluey purples as well. Really pretty. We get 3 multi-chromes. Let me see if I can point them out correctly to you. It's these 3, so the purple, this blue, and this warmer tone. The shifts on the multi-chromes aren't super strong, and that's the reason why I'm ranking this in the last place here. Not because it's a bad palette, but having tried multi-chromes from other brands that I feel have a better flip for me, they actually shift and I can really see it. These don't do much shifting wise, unless they are swatched full on, I feel. Once you blend them out, the shift kind of disappears, which is why I don't love the palette for that reason, but that's why I bought it. So I was a little bit disappointed in this one. However, the shimmers that surround the palette, those multi-chromes in the palette, I feel are lovely. So what I love especially is a shade like this. Really nice. It's a little bit more of a flaky formula sometimes, but it's still easy to pick up with a brush and you can still blend it. Very often with indie shadows, if they're too flaky, I feel it's very difficult to pick them up with a brush, and therefore also more difficult to blend. I am not blessed with the most amount of lid space, and I just have a difficult eye shape to work with. So that's why I appreciate it if I can use brushes, because it allows me to be far more detailed than having to use fingers, which always ends up being a mess for me. I love this shade. I love all three of the purpley things in here. The green and the blue that are here are also really lovely. So yeah, it has some really stunning shades in for sure that I adore. But I think that this palette, also the kind of shimmers in here, I feel I already have in my singles collection. So I didn't, like, this wasn't necessary in my makeup collection. It's not as unique and exciting as some of the other things I'm about to show you. So that's why this one is in the last spot, but it's still a great palette. Number 5 is one of the first palettes I tried from the brand. This is the Dancing in the Sky. I believe this was discontinued. They no longer do this. So that's another reason why I wanted to rank it a little bit lower. But this is essentially an all green, all shimmer palette. Look at the shift. Whee! It's got duochromes. I did 2 looks with this using nothing but shimmer all over my lids, and it was really pretty. This is another one of their effects palettes, and they're really pretty. However, they don't make for great standalone palettes. I still want to put a matte in the crease. Can I do that with my bronzer when I'm using this palette? I absolutely can. And as far as like the color story goes, I do really enjoy these greens on myself. But here as well, we get some things that pull a little bit more gold, which isn't it's just necessarily not really my thing. I do really enjoy this shade here. I'm not sure if you can see the shift, but it's like a green, and then it has this like purple to it, which is really unique. So for the uniqueness of this palette, it definitely deserves a place in my makeup collection. But as far as all the GlossGods palettes go that I've now tried, I'm happy to own it. I'm happy I have it, but it's not like one of my favorites from the brand. And I feel similarly about the other effects palette I have, which is the Color of Rain. This seems to be the one that has replaced Dancing in the Sky. However, this is the blue tone version of that, because where the Dancing in the Sky is greens, the Color of Rain is nothing but blues with some pinks. This is the only shade I don't love, and if you cover that up, you can see that it's essentially just blues with a bit of purple. And these are far more my vibe than the blues and purples we get in the Gal on the Moon. These are a little bit more subtle. I feel the formula is a little bit better. This shade is absolutely amazing, really pretty. I love something like this. Like, again, it has all these shifts that don't really show up. But what this has that the other effects palettes don't have, and why I like it better, is the matte black. Because any of these shades over the matte black, or somehow working the matte black into your look first. So when I did a look with this, actually, I didn't put it all over my lid, but just subtly, like just in the outer V, just to deepen that up a little bit, and then tapping any of these shimmers on top is going to add so much dimension, because putting shimmers like this with a flip over a deeper base is what's going to make them even more versatile than without it. So definitely experiment if you've never done so before, using a duochrome on just bare skin over a black base. It could be like a black eyeliner as well, or it could be like a white base even, and you'll see that the eyeshadow looks very differently, and you can definitely intensify the shifts by layering the matte black underneath it. So because it just has some more options because of that matte black that is in here, I normally don't even like matte blacks in palettes, but here I feel it really has a function other than just, I'm gonna use it as eyeliner kind of thing, you know what I mean? So that's why Color of Rain is ranked higher than the other 2 effects palettes, but I'm a neutral gal at heart, so you knew I was going to rank the neutral palettes higher if you've been to this channel before. Number 3, and this may surprise some people because I have been raving about this palette into the high heavens ever since I've tried it. This is the New Neutrals Remixed. This one you can still buy. This is the neutral palette that they do, and this is really stunning. You get something a little bit more cool toned, something more warm toned, and some true neutrals with green tone shifts. You can see this has a bit of a purpley green shift, this has a green shift, and this also has a green shift. So it's definitely a little bit more special from that perspective. You also get some more normal things, like This one over here is more of like your standard shimmer. But you can just do a lot. Like these warm tones, I don't love warm tones usually on myself, but they pull a bit more pinky red, which is why they work on me. And I just really adore that last row. I put this palette in a giveaway because that's how much I love it. I ended up really enjoying this one. However, there are two true cool toned options that I've also tried from the brand, which is why, as much as I like this, as much as I love this as one of my favorite all-time neutral eyeshadow palettes that is currently in my collection, like as far as that stands, this is still a standout. But if I compare all 6 of my GlossGods palettes, this had to go into the number 3 spot. And my number 2, I do apologize, this is no longer available. It was limited edition for Christmas. And this was a complete gamble because I had bought the new neutrals and Dancing in the Sky, thinking I'm just going to try them first and then I'll make my decision whether I want to buy any more by the brand. And then they dropped this as a Christmas limited edition and I was just so torn. I was like, shall I do it? I haven't even tried this brand yet. I've swatched it, looks pretty, but I don't know how much I'm gonna love it. And then they did a 25% off code. I snatched it up. And by the time I had taken the time to use those 2 palettes and knew I loved them as much as I do, this had already gone. So I'm so glad that I didn't listen to the little voice in my head going like, but you don't need this. You haven't even tried those other 2 palettes yet. You don't need this in your life. And now it's one of my favorites from the brand. And I do apologize, you can no longer get this, but I surely hope they bring this back. Because this is one of my favorite all-time cool-toned color stories, I can tell you. It's got the grays in the bottom, but then you also have these purpley, like, heathery things. This is a stunning cool tone bronze. We don't get enough of those. A cooler tone bronze, what brand does it? Nobody does it, but they do, or at least they did. And then you just have your, like, lighter neutrals. It's so stunning, really pretty. This has a pink flip, I'm not sure if you can see. But it doesn't have as many duochromes and multichromes and things like that as the new neutrals. So if you like warm tones, maybe go for the new neutrals. Just saying. But this one, yeah, it's just really stunning. And you have those like plummy, like purpley things that are really nice and pretty light. It's like a heather purple kind of vibe, I feel. Like shades like this, I would also like this, like as a wall color in your house. I think is really, really pretty too. And then you just have the grays. And again, this is a bit more plum and this is more of a true gray. So you also get a spectrum of grays in here, which I like. And I've mentioned many times how I don't love that brands seem to think, oh, it's cool toned, so we should do grays. I love that we get a mix of things in here, and that's what makes it a good cool tone palette in my book. However, something told me when they released the Gal on Jupiter for Black Friday. This is a brand new release. I think they did Gal on Jupiter and Gal on Mars, so they did a cool tone one, which is this one, and Mars was like the warm toned option. And I knew that I would love this so much. This is like if you take what I like about the new Neutrals Remixed and you take what I like from the Smoke and Mirrors and you mix it into one palette and you add a holochrome, this is what you get. This is the holochrome right here. This does look a little differently perhaps than some of the pictures you can find online. I don't know if they've changed any of their promo pictures, but this palette was advertised with a slightly different color story, and then the manufacturer put the shades in, like all the mattes in the top row, which was not supposed to happen. However, the color story works really well this way as well, so the shades are still the same, it was just reorganized by the manufacturer. And in here, you get a really nice, more like reddish tone leaning, cooler tone browns, like, it's like coffee shades. You get this really nice, murky, mustardy brown kind of thing that has a little bit of yellow running through it, really pretty. I love these like taupe shimmers that it has. We all know I love it. I love a taupe. And then this also is a very light taupe and blended in with this darker brown. Chef's kiss. We get some grays in here as well, so you get your silvers if that's what you're into. And as I mentioned, you do get some different textures in this again, which is why I like it a little bit better than I do the Smoke and Mirrors. That one doesn't have any sort of special textures, and this definitely has that holographic kind of shades in that has a little bit of sparkle. You can't really see it in the pan, but when you apply it either with a finger or with a brush all over your lid, you can definitely see that there is this like little bit of sparkle that makes it holographic, which I love. And then you just have this really pretty pinky lavender thing that has a bit of a shift. So, and that's why I really adore GlossGods, because they have really good mattes, they have really good shimmers, they are workable with brushes, and they just do some really pretty shifty things. But in a palette like this, you get a little bit of everything. You get your standard metallics that are just going to be super easy to work with. You get some toppery things, you get some really shimmering things. Like, I really like it when palettes have this mix of textures. That's just something I really enjoy, and that's why I ended up really enjoying the first gal on Jupiter. And I think, like I said, it's the best of both worlds. It has the cooler tone brown tones that I like about the Nude Neutrals remixed, and I really enjoy some of the gray tones in here as well. So yeah, that's why this one is my top favorite. And I do think they have this listed at a discount. At least the last time I checked the website, this was listed as at a slight discount as well. So not sure how the launch went for them, but this is definitely my favorite from the brand. So those are all of my GlossGods eyeshadow palettes. I hope you really enjoyed watching this video today to have an idea. Maybe you were looking into the brand, you were wondering what's really good here. I do have some palettes here that are no longer available. I do apologize for that. However, this brand is not a brand that churns out release after release after release either. So I feel you have time. So if they come out with something new that you like the look of, you can definitely wait. I did that with the Color of Rain. It came out over the summertime. I didn't get it until they restocked it. And on Instagram, they communicate really well about when things do come back in stock. So if you were eyeing up any of these palettes and it currently says out of stock on the website, follow them on Instagram or leave your email address in the notification bar, and you will get an email when it comes back. I did that for the Color of Rain, and then I got 8 emails because that's how often I had put in on the website that I wanted to know when it came back in stock, and I snatched it up straight away. So yeah, very happy that I have all of these lovely palettes. I really enjoy this brand. It's one of my favorite indie brands at the minute. So I really hope you enjoyed watching the video today. Thumbs it up if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more by me. I make several videos every single week over here on the channel, and this week is still eyeshadow palette week. So I hope you'd like to come back tomorrow for more eyeshadow palettes, because we're not done yet. So see you then. Bye-bye.